Hello and welcome back to another episode of Gregtech Community Edition Modern. Last time we got ourselves some, I can't remember if they're elite. Not elite. Let's go look at them. We're looking at Extreme Combustion Engines. We got that started. We got our very first Lapatronic device, even though it was taking forever. I did manage to get 8 of them. So we are all set to be able to actually craft up what I was looking to craft. So we are actually going to get that started really quick. I know the last thing we got to get done was our silicone rubber, so that we can have that when we're ready to enter the next tier. Now I just got to figure out where I put my canner at, because I have a canner around here somewhere. Is it here? This one. Yep. Okay. So, we're going to be making the capacitor bank today. To do so, our substation. To do so, we have to first make ourselves some capacitors that actually will store energy. So with the tier 1 capacitor, you can either craft them with Lapatron crystals or Lapatronic energy orbs. If you do it with the crystal, you end up multiplying the power by 6, I believe. Yeah, 6. And you will end up with 150 billion EU that can be stored. It's still multiplied by 6 here for the IV ones. However, you end up with 1,500,000,000,000 EU tick that can be stored. EU that can be stored. So we're gonna go ahead and make sure we get that started. Don't want to dump it anywhere, but it's gonna take some time because it's gonna take 10 seconds per, and that's only because we put it in that one. Otherwise, it's supposed to take 20 seconds. But in the meantime, we're going to go ahead and go downstairs, roughly near these generators here. And we're going to build up the substation over here. Now, one of the things that is nice is because I'm using the combustion generators, if they have nowhere to put the energy, they will not do anything with it. So we just need, I want to make sure that we put most of these blocks in the same spot. Oh. Except for the one that will change, is I want our input to be slightly... Ooh. The cable's going to get in the way, isn't it? How tall do I need to make this thing? I think I'm just making this, and yeah, it's got to be 5 blocks tall, so we got to go down one. So let's go ahead, bring it closer and go down like right there maybe? Bye-bye. Alright, let's actually lay out the entire bottom part of it. And then we'll put down the controller afterwards. I guess we should check. Can I place the controller anywhere, or does it have to be... So the controller does have to be positioned in the bottom. Just so we don't lose our block, I'll go ahead and pick it up there. So we'll do that. Doesn't really matter which way it's oriented. We're going to want to put a slab there at some point. I don't think I have a crafting... I have a crafting bench right in front of me. What am I talking about? Slabs. And boom. Not there. Just want to be able to have access to it, but not fall through every single time. So, boom, boom, and boom. Now, we want our energy hatch right here. And I am doing a 16. Which will allow me to put 2 more of these generators with the 4 amp output onto this. We're going to put it there. Get down our maintenance hatch. And then I believe we are just going to go ahead and surround most of the rest of it. We can go ahead and pop this one out and put our by 16 amp dynamo down so that we can get power pulled out over there. And then I think we just need our batteries now. So let's go get those. See where we're at. This does go pretty quickly. Sweet. Batteries done. Now, to finish this up, we do have to place them in a 3x3, just like so. And then we need ourselves some laminated glass to go on top of it. Just so I know I have the space, we're going to do it like that. And we can go all the way around. And... oh no. It's fine. We can fix this. Just have to move this to right there. There we go. Oh, I was about to be distraught. And we are throwing it everywhere instead of where it's supposed to be, you know. And it is made. Sweet. That looks so cool. This is one of the things that, like, made me fall in love with modded Minecraft, is the multi-blocks that are absolutely awesome. So, we actually have a minor problem. I just realized. So, we are going to have to use these to connect this together over here. So we're going to have to pull off this one and connect it down and down one. And actually, I think I might as well just pull this one off. These need to be doubled up here so that we can actually support 16 if we end up deciding to put stuff in there. And now we can go ahead and do our cable that way and grab our pliers out and pinch it off. And now we'll be charging up the substation. Oh my. Why is it only pulling? Is it actually not accepting the oxygen input or something? Because it's telling me... So this is good information. It looks like... these are only producing one one amp. So even though we've got the ×4 amps on them, they're not producing at the levels that we wanted them to. So while the lubricant is working, it appears the oxygen is not. So let's go ahead and pull it out and see if there's an issue with that, or if it just doesn't do it with the... like, this is exactly why I wanted to run some experiments on this, because this is kind of important to find out. But we can pop those back in. Let's take out probably this one. And the same one on the other side. And hook up. Should have some import buses. Input. Is it in a... oh, they're in my inventory. There they are. 1 and 2. And then, so it's working now. Now, what if I wire up? And see, this is exactly why I wanted to do testing, because if this is the cause for it to not work like that, that's a very good thing to know for anybody who's trying to set this up. That if this is the case, want ourselves the oxygen. But if it doesn't work with the block sharing like this, then, like, clearly... Okay. Now, if I restart... No, it's still not working. Do we have anything anywhere in here that tells us about that? Yeah, large combustion. So, is there something about it over here, maybe? Where's combustion? This is the boiler. Power substation. Like, is there something I'm missing? Because that should be running it at the higher rate. I'm going to look something up and I'll be right back. Alright, from what I guess is that either I can't overclock this fuel, or this mod pack doesn't have overclocking for this, or there's the last option, which we'd have to test out by splitting the two machines. And that would mean shutting this one off, and then we could test it by breaking this. Maybe on and off again? Yeah, no, it doesn't seem to be doing anything. I don't know if that's because of a fuel. Like, because it could be because of fuel that I'm using. It could be a number of different things that I'm like, I have no idea why it won't overclock. But it's fine for now, I guess. I'll have to figure out some other stuff later. There's literally nothing that talks about specifically like why it wouldn't be. So I have no idea. But this will resolve our issues with having a place to store massive amounts of energy. You know, that is an insane amount of time. 22 hours to fill this up. And then it will have a passive drain as well. Which is one other thing that we're going to have to note. Is that with the capacitors, they will passively drain, I think it's 1% of the total capacity. So not what it has in there, but the total capacity every 24 hours. So it ends up being a pretty... Oh, well, I guess there's a cap as well of 100,000 EU per tick. Okay. But this now allows me... I can do some actually pretty fancy stuff with this. Because we got these... I just don't know if I'm up for the power loss. Because you can run them through the fluix cables. But one thing I was thinking of doing was running some cables underneath everything here. But I don't have ground to be able to do that with. I guess the first thing we could do is we could change over. And I load some of these systems here into transformers so that instead of using the gasoline for these productions, we're using the power station down below. I do actually have to make some transformers for that, though. So we got some extreme voltage transformers. We're going to want, let's do I think we do 2. Because I always want this to have an alternate power source to power making the gasoline. We never want that to, for some reason, end up going under. But I think it's insane with how much we're technically using right now, and it's still, like, scratching, barely scratching the surface. We need ourselves another transformer. We need one of these ones. Okay. Oh, wait. We actually need a third one. No. Oh, that's good. That'll work. Okay. I'll have to start making it to where I can manually craft these transformers at some point. Boom. First one. And we will start the parts for a second one. Okay, so the first one was going to go right here. So let's go ahead and remove our pipe. And we will go ahead and place it just like so. I guess we're going to need to pull out our screwdriver. And just make sure that we can get this hooked up properly. Now here's where the fun is, because if we're going to bring this over here, we are going to need some 4x cables to manage the immediate power output. But then we can dumb it down to these individual ones to feather on out over to here before going up. Just like that. And now we can go ahead and get rid of... Oh, that's not going to work. Because we now need ourselves... Wait, that's stepping up. We don't want that. We want step down. That was right. We want ourselves one of the extreme voltage transformers now. Yes, we should be able to craft the other one that we need. Not quite. And ta-da. Okay. So with that there, that should now power that. And while it's a bit more in materials, it helps us save on fuel source to power more of the larger versions of generators instead of the small ones. And actually, I don't even need to bring out the transformer over here. I can quite literally just say, where's that other wires? I don't know why. Oh, other backpack. You know, this is why having a lot of backpacks can get really confusing. We can wire that there. And now that powers that one as well. And unfortunately, we're not going to see much. Why is this disabled? That shouldn't have been the case, but okay. We know that it's working. And it's providing the voltage needed for that one. And we could even bring it on over to power both of these now. Which is highly tempting. But we will refrain. I can, however, make it come over to power these. Oh, this is just, like, so exciting. Because now I can basically wipe out that entire... Woo! Wipe out the entire, block over here. And have it all run off of the power supply down here. And I can actually even move these, turbines over there down below. Well, that was a bit of a short episode. There was one other thing I think I wanted to check out and cover, but I don't remember. No, these are a pain. Oh, I guess this is what I wanted to look at. So we got to make these next. So we now have congratulations on making it this far. Progression to LUV will require more than rhodium-plated palladium and LUV circuits alone. You will need the assembly line. The resource cost for components will also start to increase significantly as you work towards fusion. If you haven't got automation for nearly everything now in IV, is a good time to do so. Take advantage of the power granted by Gregicality multiblocks. If your power generation relies on large turbines, you can pick up the LUV rotor holder. I don't want to look at that because that might be a good idea for later. But because I do have one of those set up, I could totally set up another one. But let's get ourselves some of this rhodium-plated metal, which I think I might have already set up in here. Did I? No. I have not. So let's go get an autocraft thing set up. Because the best thing about setting up autocrafting is then you can have it set up to be on demand. So now we need this recipe with the argon. And it will make 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And set it up just like that to go in our system over there. And we should be able to just plop it on in. And now, let's look it back up. Rhodium. Rhodium. There we go. Plated palladium. I'll have it craft like... I don't think 12 is enough, but we can... I'm not going to be waiting for all of it for sure, because it will take some time. A minute... So 2 minutes and 1 second, plus however long it takes to cool in there. Hopefully it takes helium to do so. But with that, I think we should set up some auto crafting of something else, but I don't know what. Looking at our list, we've got that. We've got the assembly line. This is going to have to be a whole other episode because I do not do well with these plastics and stuff. So I think that's going to be simply it. I'll show that off, but at the same time, it's like, it's simple. It's going to be done in 2 minutes, so I don't know why you'd want to stick around to watch that. But I guess one thing I was going to talk about, I keep forgetting every time that I go to record. I ended up watching that video about fusion reaction stuff. It was pretty wild that they plan on getting it set up to start up later this year. Or even this year. But the video is only from like a week ago, so it shouldn't be just yet. But this year they want to get first plasma. And then next year they want to make it to where it's greater than Q1, I think is what the term is called. Basically, getting more power returned than it takes to cause the thing. So, pretty wild. Especially since we actually have the material here inside Gregtech. So it's this one right here. Yttrium barium cuprate that they ended up using to wrap the coils and be able to make a strong enough electromagnet to be able to make the reactor smaller and probably produce enough energy to actually make it viable as a power solution. So it's pretty crazy. The only thing that I think is funny is that I don't know if they knew this or not, but this is technically impossible, is what they were talking about with it, is that the yttrium barium cuprate is too brittle to actually be rounded to wire, so they had to take foil and wrap it around the electromagnet. Pretty wild. Pretty wild stuff. Anyways, I want to thank you guys for watching here. I will see you guys next time when we're working on our last couple steps here before entering the LUV stage. Thank you guys for watching. Bye!